Okay, so today we are talking with Philip Harris, author, hailing from beautiful Maine, America. Thanks for joining us, Phil.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Today we just wanted to introduce you to everyone and learn a little bit more about you as a person and as a writer.
Okay. Well, I grew up in Massachusetts, and I went to school in Washington, D.C. at the American University, received my bachelor's degree in political science. I also did graduate work at AU, the University of Northern Colorado,
Okay.
and Howard University. And I've worked at pretty much every level of government and in the private sector.
Wow. Northern Colorado, beautiful country.
Absolutely gorgeous.
So what genre do you actually write?
Well, I'm kind of in a number of genres at the moment. As a matter of fact, my first novel, it's titled Waking God, was actually penned a whole new genre unto itself. It's called a spiritual thriller. If I might, just a little bit about it, it's published by Star Publishing, and it's co-authored with Brian Doe, and it's the first of a trilogy. And book 2 is currently nearing completion, so we have our fingers crossed on that one. Waking God is kind of a philosophical and spiritual treatise in the guise of a fictional novel. New York Times bestselling author Piers Anthony, he called it a provocative novel, part thriller, part religion, and said it's the kind of book that would make you think, which was kind of the intent. It basically turns the religious world upside down and challenges the normal and accepted concepts of reality.
Okay, so you're saying it's not necessarily the book that I would have gotten as a gift on my confirmation.
Probably not. Probably not. Reviews have said that our book makes Da Vinci Code look like a church hymn. Um,
Okay.
but it's highly supportive along the lines of the film and the novel The Secret, and it addresses humanity's number one fear that actually deters the creation of one's own reality. So it's a very interesting book, to say the least.
Sounds like it. So you obviously working in various levels of government, you've done your fair share of writing and creating of the written word. When did you actually start writing yourself?
Well, actually, as far as major public writing, it occurred really a couple of years ago. Most of my writing had been for government, whether it be writing government reports or press releases or the kinds of documents most people absolutely dread reading.
Right.
So it was quite the transition to go from that type of non-stylistic writing into using creative imagination. But I have had a lifelong interest and relationship with numerous mystical organizations, and I finally got the old creative juices and imagery in the mind going, and managed to take those images and put them on paper and to break that old bureaucratic mold.
Right. Right. I also noticed that on your website, wakinggod.com, it seemed like there was a sort of a mountain of information that's, as you describe on the site, as a compendium to the book. I often enjoy that when there's resources available for me to sideline my reading.
Well, absolutely. We did a lot of research in putting that book together. A lot of research of ancient texts. There's a lot of history involved there, a lot of religious history, a lot of history with regard to various mystical places and mystical sites and so forth. So it's one of those kinds of books that takes you on an imaginary journey, but it's all based in a lot of facts that actually occurred throughout history, and we do try to give references and actually have pictures of some of the places and locations where numerous scenes take place within the novel. So we try to bring the reading public into the visualization of what is actually occurring inside the novel. I've also tried to do that in my second novel. I'm not sure that you've gotten to that website yet. It's called A Maine Christmas Carol, and that's published by Cambridge Books.
Okay.
And it's a contemporary retelling of the Dickens classic, only it's set in Hollowell, Maine. And instead of old Scrooge, we have a 16-year-old youth by the name of TJ who recently loses his father in Iraq, so it's obviously very contemporary.
Okay.
But to cope with this loss, he kind of, in the pressures of the modern world, he turns to drugs. And his father, like Jacob Marley in the old classic, returns on Christmas Eve and attempts to derail his son from his path of self-destruction. And it addresses issues dealing with teen suicide, child abuse, and the need for a person to take responsibility for his own actions. And the reviews on that book have been really good, and people have said they'd be awfully surprised if it wasn't a Hallmark or a Johnson & Johnson movie sometime fairly soon.
Well, that's exciting. It sounds very real.
Yeah, we try. It's really good, and like I said, the reviews have been really good.
So besides that, are you working on any? Do you have anything working around on the cobwebs? Or you have anything else on the back burner?
Absolutely. Like I said, with Brian, we have book 2 of Waking God. I'm also working on beginning another non-fictional novel, tentatively titled The Raping of Louisiana, which is based on an individual, a friend of mine, who has spent the last couple of years down there driving trucks and working on the cleanup, and he kind of created a diary as he went. And so we hope to expose some of the abuses and the misfortunes that have occurred as a result of Hurricane Katrina. In addition, I write, I'm a nationally syndicated writer. I write for the American Chronicle, so my articles frequently appear there. And I also have my own blog that I post on regularly. It's http //philipharris.blog.com. So between those and the articles I write for e-zines, kept fairly busy.
Yeah, so I mean, as a fairly prolific author, do you have any advice? I mean, we ask for advice from writers. Do you have any advice for the young writers out there?
Yeah, I would say that to me the most important thing is to let your inner self be your guide when it comes to writing. Think from your heart, and don't worry about being too linear in your thinking. Write when you're inspired, and don't force your writing. I find sometimes if I say, I have to write this chapter today or this article today, that it doesn't come across with my heart in it. But if I wait until I'm kind of guided to sit down, or I'm inspired to sit down and do it, that it comes off more true to what I really want to say. And another thing that I'm going to go contrary to common advice here, and my advice would be whatever you do, don't prepare yourself for a lot of rejection, because to me, that is just a mindset that's going to set you up for disappointment. My motto is if you can visualize it and you're passionate about it, it will become a reality. So don't fall into that trap that a lot of people try to say, be prepared for all the letters of rejections and so forth, because you set that up as your own reality. Instead, have faith in what you write, put it out there, and know it's going to be a well-written book or document or article, whatever it is you happen to be working on, and know people are going to like it, and you kind of set up that universal vibration for the world to be ready for it.
Oh, that's very positive. That's we hear some refreshing things, and I think that that's the attitude that I would like to subscribe to. And I think that that Maine Christmas Carol sounds pretty interesting. I might check that out. And
I hope you do. The website for that, by the way, is http dickens111.tripod.com.
Dickens111.tripod.com.
Right, and of course, Waking God is www.wakinggod.com, and anybody can go to the American Chronicle and AmericanChronicle.com and search for articles that I've written there as well.
Okay, well, that's great, Philip. Thank you for taking the time to discuss yourself and your writing, and stay warm out there in Maine.
Absolutely, my pleasure, Ben. You too.
Okay, thanks, Phil.
All right, good night.